1332, our telephone number. Hello.
Yes, good morning, John. How are you this morning?
Yeah, fine, thank you.
It's about these Liberal Republicans. I'd like to send them to...
Hang on, Liberal Republicans.
I'd just like to send them to that Hellfire Club for a jolly good whipping, because these libs now seem to be the same spoilers we've had for years, and I'm looking forward to... I have to get used to Mr. Keating opening the 2000 Olympics as PM as president.
But you see, the point with the Liberals being in favour, or wanting at least, but I don't think anybody necessarily said they're in favour. I think many people said they wanted to discuss the possibilities, the pros and cons of a republic. Shouldn't we all be doing that?
Yes, for sure, but when there's a significant, let's say it's a significant minority, even if it's say 40% in favour of the status quo, I mean, in this situation, you know, it's just going to end up like the Joe for PM situation. Liberals are going to be in the wilderness for 20, 30 odd years.
Well, if they don't behave themselves, they ought to shut this Tony Abbott up. I don't know what sort of fellow he is, but he just talks too much, and he seems to think that he has a right to dictate the cause as far as the Liberals are concerned. Well, I can assure him there are plenty of people in the Liberal Party, because I know plenty of them, and I've discussed the Republic issue with them. Many of them want to discuss it. They want to talk about it.
Well, I think that's fair enough. It should be open.
Of course it should be open, and that's why there might be close to 50% who are in favour of a republic, and there are a lot of people who are totally ambivalent. Well, I think the people who are ambivalent are the ones who are right, because I happen to be ambivalent. I don't have any set idea about it yet, because I would need to know more, and I would want to give it a lot more thought, because it's a pretty important kind of move to make with your very own country.
Yeah, well, in regards to a prediction, I'd laid money on Mr. Keating being there for a few more years, because as long as there's squabbling within the Liberal Party, at least we know the Labour Party.
Yeah, but I think I think this Alexander Downer will put a tight rein. He ought to shut Tony Abbott up. I mean, he's the one who's causing the trouble at the moment. The last thing they need, they're performing very, very, very well. They're actually looking like an opposition. The first time we've had an opposition looking like an opposition for a long time. They're getting plenty of support from within the ranks, except in this area.
So you think there should be consensus in regards to the Labour and Liberal Party going for a republic, do you?
Yeah, it should have nothing to do with politics.
Well, I'm afraid it's entwined with politics.
Yes, I know. Well, they've made it entwined with politics, because Tony Abbott has stated, and very clearly, that if you are pro a monarchy, you are anti the Liberal Party.
It was Mr. Keating who brought up the Republican issue though, John.
Sure it was.
Sure, so...
Sure it was, but he brought it up as an individual. He didn't bring it up as the Labour Party.
Well, he brought it up as his position.
As his position.
The country.
As his position, but he always said the decision would be made by the people.
Yeah, and when the people find out that the Liberals are squabbling again, I'm sure they'll vote Labour, and good luck to the Labour Party.
Well, I don't know that they're going to vote Labour on the grounds that they're squabbling, but it's certainly not going to do them any good when they've been looking so strong. Thanks for your call. Good to talk to you. Bye.
There's activity in the air, activity down below. Don't know quite what it is, but it's got me going, and the city's got a spatial glow. I'm hearing things that I wanna hear. I hear voices that I know.
Hello world, this
and
is
these voices have the strength to activate the power coming out of my radio. Radioactive, the source of the power is radioactive. Radioactive, the source of the power is radioactive. Radioactive.
News.
It's 6 o'clock. Good evening, I'm Matt McDonald. A school cleaner has been refused bail, charged with murdering a bride-to-be in southern New South Wales. Amelia Burney reports.
Police believe English and drama teacher Stephanie Scott met with foul play just a week before her wedding. 24-year-old school cleaner Vincent Stanford was arrested overnight and today faced court charged with murder after police allegedly found blood in his car and pictures of a body on his phone. Amelia Burney reporting.
Police are checking phone and bank records in the search for a woman missing from Coogee. With the details, Derek Peterson.
37-year-old Jessica Bialik was last seen leaving her home in Dudley Street, Coogee, around 8:30 yesterday morning. Father Michael are very worried.
We're desperate to find out from her
that she's safe.
Derek Peterson, Sydney.
Music, movies and books purchased online could soon be subject to the GST. Michael Packy has the details.
Western Australia is demanding a greater share as the mining boom fades. Such a change is unlikely unless all states agree. But billions could be added to government coffers, with the GST potentially imposed on downloaded music, movies and books. Michael Packy reporting.
The government denies it struck a deal with the Greens to cut the pension for wealthy retirees. Olivia Leeming reports.
The Greens have signalled they're open to reducing the part pension for the richest retirees if it stems from a wider review of retirement incomes. But the government denies it's cut a deal with the minor party to pass the changes and save $8 billion over 4 years. Labor says it still wants to see the details of the proposal. Olivia Leeming, Sydney.
It's hoped the family of an Irish tourist charged with king-hitting his brother can return home soon. Here's court reporter Leonie Ryan.
Patrick Little showed up to court for the first time not wearing a beanie, which he usually wore to cover the aftermath of the king hit, alleged to have been thrown by brother Barry at King's Cross. The family is hopeful a positive outcome will be reached so it can return to Ireland in the coming weeks. Leonie Ryan, Sydney.
The family of a murdered great-grandmother says they miss her more than ever as the case against her alleged killer is delayed. Gemma Gunning reports.
This year, 63-year-old Rodney Boatswain was charged with shooting the 76-year-old dead last November, and today his case was adjourned with key evidence still outstanding. Outside court, Helen's niece, Jenny Hitchcock, says his arrest was a surprise to their family. Gemma Gunning, Sydney.
The makers of the Dallas Buyers Club will continue with legal action against illegal downloaders despite receiving death threats. Here's Francis Keeney.
The executives behind the movie this week have won a legal battle to have internet providers hand over the personal details of those who illegally downloaded the film. But Vice President of Voltage Pictures, Michael Wickstrom, has told 2UE's Justin Smith there's been an angry response.
There's some angry folks in Australia.
Francis Keeney reporting.
The Foreign Minister continues to plea for clemency for the Bali 9 pair despite a looming execution date. Jenna Crowther reports.
Andrew Chan and Myron Sukumaran could be put in front of the firing squad sometime this month if a suitable date can be found. But Foreign Minister Julie Bishop isn't giving up.
It's a position that the government takes very seriously.
Jenna Crowther, Indonesia.
The surviving Boston bomber could face the death penalty after being found guilty over his role in the 2013 attacks. Lucy Brennan reports.
Survivors of the Boston Marathon bombings say the guilty verdict handed to Dzhokhar Tsarnaev means they can now start to heal. The jury took a day and a half to reach its verdict. He now faces the death penalty or life in prison. Lucy Brennan reporting.
And lastly tonight, it is the end of an era with 2UE broadcasting its last ever news bulletin. Here's Robert Spicer.
The iconic 2UE microphone has appeared at historic events spanning the better part of the last century. The dismissal of Gough Whitlam, the Granville train disaster, the Beaconsfield mine disaster and more recently the Sydney siege. 2UE has covered every significant news event over the past 90 years with some of the best journalists in the country. Future 2UE news bulletins will now be broadcast from Pyrmont. Robert Spicer, 2UE's Greenwich studio, Sydney.
It's 6:04.
2UE Sports Update. SydneyLuggageCentre.com.au for great prices.
Now with sport, here's Glenn Lauder.
Matt Brisbane NRL coach Wayne Bennett's come out in opposition of the game's strength and concussion rules. Bennett says it'll make it tougher to convince players to leave the field straight away because of their warrior mentality. Perth Glory midfielder Mitch Nichols has left to join Japanese club Cerezo Osaka, and Aussie surfer Mick Fannings won a record-equalling fourth Bells Beach crown, beating Adriano de Souza in the final of the Rip Curl Pro. That's sport. I'm Glenn Lauder.
In finance news, the All Ordinaries down 24 points to 5,904. Oil worth $51.01 US a barrel. And $1 Australian dollar is buying at 76.89 US cents. News time, 6:05.
2UE Sydney weather for eaglehomes.com.au. Building quality and affordable family homes for 30 years.
Mostly clear tonight, overnight lows of 10 to 15. Tomorrow, a shower or two, tops of 20 to 22. Slight chance of a shower on Saturday. Possible showers Sunday. Possible morning showers on Monday. Right now in the city, it's 18 degrees. It's 18 degrees at Penrith, 17 at Campbelltown. And that is the final ever 2UE News Bulletin. It is the end of an era and a particularly sad day here at 2UE. So many of the country's brightest journalists have cut their teeth here at 2UE, and anyone who has ever worked here will tell you that they wear it as a badge of honour. So thank you to our listeners, but mostly to my staff. It has been an absolute privilege. I'm Matt McDonald on Sydney's original 2UE 954.
954 News.